Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris here, and welcome to another episode of the Solo Cast. Typically, with these, I like to try to go and talk about things that are happening recently in my life, little stories to tell, and just kind of give you guys some updates at the end. This kind of replaced my whole, selfie vlogs that I would typically do. But I haven't uploaded one of these in a little bit, and it's not because I haven't had stories or anything like that. I just have been busy with too many other things. I haven't taken up my time. This has kind of fell behind the fell under the fridge, if you want to put it that way. Between Alan Wake 2 coming out, between me doing my audiobook stuff, and between work and just trying to manage my mornings and my nights, and even just having some time to myself to just play some games and decompress without worrying about work, which is few and far between hours I get to do that. So yeah, it's been a little bit since I've done one of these, and I wanted to do one as a end of the year wrap up, which I don't think I did a wrap up for 2022. I think I skipped it. Okay, so I did not do one for 2022. My last video I uploaded in 2022 was I uploaded 4 shorts in a row, basically on the 25th and the 29th. I uploaded all those, but I don't believe I did a retrospective. So I did it in 2021. I thought I did 2 of them. Maybe I did it in 2020 as well. So basically, if you don't know what the retrospective is, it's where I just kind of talk about some things that I did throughout the year. And it's not like a vanity thing. It's not like a me stroking my ego. It's moreover me assuring myself of things that I did accomplish, because I always have an overwhelming dread of not accomplishing enough, clashing with procrastination and my depressive tendencies, and self-worth. All those things kind of coagulate into a big angsty ball of paralyzing inability to really dedicate myself too much. The only thing I've found that I can actually channel that in all the time, most of the time, is writing. It's been a constant for me since 2012. And but along the way, I get kind of unaware of passage of time, outside of the depression that comes with the passage of time and the the realizations of it all, the implications of it all. I kind of forget just what I was able to do in my in the allotment of a year. And I always think back, like, oh man, when did these things happen? When did that? Oh my God, that was this year. I think we all kind of get that, because so much is crammed into our days at this point, when it comes to just negative news, when it comes to just like interpersonal drama and strife and personal achievements, personal failings, relationships. We all kind of get bogged down by the minutia of the crap that makes up a 24 hours in a day span across 52 weeks. You know what I mean? So I like to look back on the things I did, not as a way for me to be like, oh, look at how much I have accomplished. It's more to be like, hey, Chris, look what you did. Feel good about yourself, feel proud about yourself, and also just for me to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to you guys as well. So with that long-winded intro out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about some of my accomplishments in 2023. But one of the first things I did this year, it happened on January 29th, purposefully was waited to release there, was I did release Devil to the Damned, which is the second prequel in my book series. And honestly, one of my favorite books I've written. Every time I release like a mainline book, it becomes one of my favorites ever written. Like, I think book one will always just, it'll always have a special place in my heart, because it's my favorite. I think it's my favorite story to tell, because I told it so many different ways in my head and on paper, and for what it has culminated into, will never not be special to me. But when it comes to just how much I adore some of the characters, some of the abstract writing, something, just the creativity that I got to mess with. I got to wiggle my fingers in this mess of like bilinear fucking interdimensional mental asphyxiation crap that this character has to deal with, the Devil to the Damned. It's just so fun, and it just always had my creative juices flowing. I think Devil to the Damned was some of the most fun I ever had writing, and it was also some of the most stress I ever had while writing, because when I was what I did was I printed the entire book out once I had it all written and ready to be final proofed. I printed it all out and had it in a big binder on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. the entire thing. That way it could be, I could like hand edit stuff, and I could, like I work really well when it comes to organization when I have physical things in front of me. Like I have a hard time, or if it's like desktop folders, like on my PC, I like organizing stuff in folders. I'm not like too crazy with it, but when I think about, oh, I need to like organize, the book folder. I have a book folder and a book flash drive, and I think, oh, I need to organize that. It's hard because in those folders there's so many layers of subfolders that I get lost in there. I end up duplicating stuff, I end up misplacing stuff. So it's like I wish I could just take all of that physical stuff, all the art, all the music, all the drawings and everything like that. I just said art, all the documents, and just like have them out in front of me and physically organize them. And that's kind of what I do when it comes to writing this stuff with the binder, and I'm physically editing. The editing process for that was such a challenge because I hit a part where I'm like, this entire section needs to be rewritten. I need to literally write an entire chapter in between these two chapters. And it was the biggest headache of my life. Like I thought book two's continuity and all that stuff was difficult. And it was, don't get me wrong. Good God, was it difficult. But Devil to the Damned was so much lore, so much nuance, so much continuity to keep track of. So it's super messy in my head, but like trying to make sure that stays organized and is tangible and also abstract enough to where the reader doesn't always feel, you don't want the reader to feel 100% grounded all the time. You want them to be like, huh, I think I get what's going on. I'm connecting pieces, but it's not explicitly stated on the page, so I have to do a little bit of red webbing, you know what I mean? I got a bulletin board of information, and I'm piecing it together based on what I know and what I have yet to know and what I am assuming. So, but anyway, with all that said, like I published that on the 29th, and very proud of that. Again, one of my favorite books that I've written, one of my favorite stories, and one of my favorite characters. So yeah, I did that. So I didn't write that this year, but I published it. So I'm going to technically count that. The next thing I want to talk about, which actually kind of replaced writing, and I'm not going to get too much into this because I've been talking about it way too much in the past couple of months, since I didn't do a lot of writing. Most of the writing that I did this year was blueprint building. So once I finished Devil to the Dam, I started creating the blueprint, the outline, whatever you want to call it, the structure for book 3, and most of the year was spent doing that. Unfortunately, I usually have a bit of an outline kind of figured out by the time I published the first book at the beginning of the year. So like I usually start writing the next book around March, but I didn't get to do that because I spent from January all the way till like summertime, like July or maybe, yeah, like June, July, just scripting and writing out what would be happening in book 3 because this is going to be very complicated as well. And so, but by the time I got to the end of the year, I'm like, it doesn't feel right. Like the way my ADHD works, the way my brain works is very arbitrary structures in my head, some guidelines that don't necessarily matter, but they feel like they need to be met. It's like me and my therapist talked about this a little bit, and I'm not diagnosing myself. She certainly is not diagnosing me, but she says it sounds in the way that I approach certain aspects of my life, like obsessive compulsive was it OCP personality, not OCD, but obsessive compulsive personality, where I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's what she kind of mirrored back to me, and I'm like, that's interesting, and I can see how it makes sense in very specific instances in my life, that paired with ADHD and just my anxiety behind writing. It had to feel very categorical and compartmentalized in a specific time span. So because I wouldn't have started actually writing until the end of the year, I felt the need to push it off to the beginning of the next year, which left me with like a 5 or 6 month time span of just emptiness. It's like sitting in an open room with nothing to do because I feel like I'm not allowed to start it to the beginning of the year. So what I did to fill that time at first was another thing on my list was created a trading card game. I had wormed around the idea of trading cards in my head a little bit for a while, probably since the beginning of this year as well. I had the initial concept, but what it was me demoing, like making my own Yu-Gi-Oh cards and like my own spell cards, trap cards, spell cards, trap cards, monster cards, and what that would entail, like how many stars do they have, what's their attack, what's their effect in the realm of Yu-Gi-Oh and Yu-Gi-Oh rulings. And I'm like, I made a couple of those, they're really cool, they're collector pieces or whatever. But then I started to think, like, what if I made my own trading card game? So I started designing basically a card itself to be a collector piece. It was going to be just trading cards, like with no gameplay elements. So I have a few of those still, where there's the character art, it's character name. It has like personality scales, like if this character leans more towards the rational or impulsive side of things, and it has attribute scales for for each character. It had kind of like statistics where you had like their strength, their defense and stuff based on like this different kind of measuring system of like not numerical, but it was like these one two I think it was like each it was like each circle was cut out into 4 aspects, but not like a pie chart, but like 4 outer edges of the circles or whatever. You can anything I talk about you'll be able to find in the description somewhere. I'll try to link everything down below, and I will label everything appropriately, which is a lot of work, but I will do that for you guys if you want to see examples of these things. Wherever I have them posted, it might be Instagram, it might be a Twitter post, it might be a video, it might be whatever, but check down below if you want visuals or links to whatever I'm talking about. Anyway, so I had these collector cards, and then I started to branch off of that, thinking like, how could I make this into an actual card game? So I started like figuring out how the character cards would be laid out, and I eventually, just throughout all the stuff, I came to start designing an actual what card types you would have, how they would all work together, and what does the field look like. And long story short, I spent a few months fully designing and creating and publishing a trading card game. I have a game board, I have multiple decks, I have multiple booster sets, I have what was the total? Like, oh man, I don't have a total. I have like 300 cards. I have like 300 unique cards. It's playable. Like, it totally works. I have a demo video of that on the book channel, which again will be linked down below. I will link to where you can buy the structure decks, because right now you have structure decks available for each character card. And I don't think at the moment that I'm putting this out immediately, like when this goes live, not all of them will be available. Only a couple will be available. The way it works for me to publish them, I have to order proofs of them, and then once I get the proof copy of the deck, then I can make that publish. I can make it published, whatever. So right now I only have 2 structure decks available, but I did recently order every single one of the structure decks. By the time I get those, I can make all of those public. So if you're looking like, months in the future, then they should all be available. But if you're looking at it like today's the 30th of December, if you're looking at it within a couple of weeks of me posting this, then they might not all be available, but whatever have you. So check that out if you want to play. I don't have a way for me to put the rulings up. I don't have a way to print the rulings with the each structure deck. I can add a digital file to where you can download the ruling document, and I'll also post on my website at some point. I need to write this down. I'll post on my website the official rules, because I'm still working out the kinks with it too. Like, I've only beta tested maybe 2 times, and I have yet to have people play it to where they could bring up questions I never thought of. So it might not be perfect. It is just a beta, but it's just something fun that I did, and I think could be fun to play. Also, an unfortunate thing happened with a trading card game where I had everything divided into folders. I had all of the actual XCF files for like the edited layers. Like, I could open it up. I use GIMP to make everything. GIMP Shop is like a free Photoshop, whatever. And I have all the source files for every single card or every card type. And I had all the layers and everything is perfect. It took me weeks to design every single card and get all the layers perfect and everything like that. And I had them on my flash drive, and my flash drive got corrupted. So that was a very bad day. And the flash drive has literally everything of my books on it. So it got corrupted. And I'm like, this is why I have backups. This is why I have on my desktop, I have the exact folder that I copy over, once a month. I transfer it over there, and I have it on my laptop as well. And I have the entire thing on a different hard drive, a different solid state drive. But unfortunately, the ones that I still had were out of date, and the trading card stuff was not on anything that I had. So I had to go through, and once I couldn't recover the flash drive, I did everything I could, just shy of spending $200 on a program that would have taken 10 hours to delve into the flash drive and recover it. Just short of doing that, everything within my power and reasonable amount of money, could not recover my trading card stuff. So I had to actually go onto the site on GameCrafter and download every single file that I had uploaded, which is cool because I got all the images. Unfortunately, the way that I did it was all the images were created at like a 1600 by 3000 pixel size, and then were scaled down to the appropriate size. Well, and then exported as that size to match the criteria of the 2.25 by 3.25 card dimensions. And unfortunately, since those are what I uploaded to be used, though that's what I downloaded, so all the cards I have are smaller. So I don't have any of my layer files. I can't create a card. I have to go and there's no way I can create a card from scratch again. I have to drop a card in there and then I have to break it into layers again in order to make new cards. So I haven't done that yet. So I'm heartbroken from that. That happened, and I just completely, I was almost in tears, dude. I was so fucking devastated. That, and I was already a couple of chapters. I think I was probably 8 chapters into recording the audiobook. So all the small edits I had made to the document had been lost, so I had to then open up the document and listen to my audio recordings and read along as I listened to make sure I reinserted and re-edited what I had changed while doing the recording, or not changed, what I had updated. So I had to listen and read for spelling and grammatical errors and dialogue tweaks. So that set me back like 2 weeks. That was a nightmare. The trading card game thing was a nightmare. Those are two of the most devastating things to happen to me this year. Like when it comes to personal projects and shit like that. I didn't have any family members pass, nothing like that happened, thank God. But when it came to my workload and what I do and my actual projects I care about, that fucking destroyed me. But yeah, so the trading card game is technically done. I have more card ideas on my phone. I have probably another 50 or 60 cards I could be making, and I have some decks I still need to build. And trying to balance it is really fucking hard too, I'll tell you what. But I did try to make that into a digital card game at some point, and I talked to some people about designing a game, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel or something like that. And they're like, yeah, we'll crowdfund, we'll get together, scrape about $30,000 to make it. I'm like, I'm not answering any more emails from you. $30,000. I get it, it's a video game, but fuck, no thank you. And the reason why I wanted to make it digital like that is because there is a lot of math you have to keep track of, and a lot of small stat changes. It's very RPG-ish in a sense. It's not like a board game or anything like that, but you have your fighter character, and there's a lot of numbers, a lot of small numbers involved, but it's a lot to keep track of. So you have a whiteboard, you have a notepad or something to keep track of it, and so it's a whole thing. But but yeah, so trading card game, and then leading into the audiobook. I did do the audiobook. I just finished a couple days ago, I think 3 days ago. I finished uploading the entirety of book 1. Book 1 is now done on audiobook entirely. So that's free to listen on Spotify, free to listen on YouTube. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with myself, and I'm glad that I went through and dedicated myself to it. It was a lot of fun, and it helped satisfy that creative itch that not writing kind of left for me, since I was going to wait till the beginning of this coming year to write anything else. Doing the audiobook just helped keep me busy, helped keep the momentum going, and honestly helped refresh a lot of. I needed to refresh my brain on a lot of stuff that happened, because I haven't actually read through book 1 since 2018. It's been a long time since I read through it. That was the thing. I also, while I was doing the card game, I watched the entirety of House MD, because it was a show I had on the side while I was making all the cards and doing all that grunt work, all the designing work. So I watched all of House MD. I watched all of Merlin. I'm watching the X-Files right now for the podcast, for a Monster of the Week podcast, which their podcast for X-Files is Non-Human Biologics. So I've never seen the X-Files, so I'm getting to watch that. So that's a lot of fun. I love watching dated technology. It's incredible. I love that shit. Which leads me to my plan when it comes to talking about the audiobook and stuff. Sorry, I keep breaking off into tangents. Since I finished that, I am going to do the audiobooks for every book, like I have mentioned in multiple videos and stuff, multiple posts, but I am going to take a break from the audio so I can continue writing, because this next writing project is not book 3, it is a book 2.5. It is an in-between story of the aftermath of what happened after book 2 and dealing with the characters and the emotional turmoil of the dust settling in these characters' lives, and I'm going to be writing that. I have most of it scripted already. I just need to organize the blueprint, organize my notes, and inject whatever notes I have left, and then I can start writing it, and it should be pretty easy. It's going to be pretty straightforward, and it will be creative, and it will be fun, and it will just be hey, I like these characters. I need to see how this kind of stuff played out because of the situation that they're in. And it's just like a cozy, not necessarily cozy because it's not happy, feel good. Like they're still pretty fucking fucked up and depressed over stuff. But like, and then once I do that, I'll either, it depends on how long that takes, I'll either start the next audiobook or which would be Transgression, or I will move and write the next project, which is a I'm not going to get all into it because I talked about it so much, and I've taken up too much of you guys' time talking about book stuff. I usually save that stuff for the end because I feel like people don't care about that as much because this goes up my main channel. But the next thing on my list I want to talk about is I just got 500,000 gamer score. This has been on my list of things to do for a while. I believe last year I hit, what was my 470? I started this year off at like 475,000 gamer score. I was like, yeah, I can do 25K in a year, and I just didn't buy any games. I was kind of like made a rule for myself of like, I'm not going to buy a bunch of easy games. I'm just going to play games I want to play, and I'll get the gamer score that way so I can still feel proud about it. And then Christmas came, and I was like 26 or 22,000 gamer score away, something like that. Christmas came, I got $100 Xbox card, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to balls deep buy some easy games and just get knock this shit out before the year's over. So I did. In one day, I got like 12,000 gamer score, and then the next day I finished it off and I got my 500K. So life goal complete, 500,000 gamer score. A good 65% of it is actual games I played, and then 35% of it is like easy shitty games, but like, I'm still proud of it regardless. Speaking of games, Alan Wake 2 came out this year. That came out of nowhere. I was not expecting, like, I saw a trailer for it at one point when they first dropped it. I don't remember when that was, but it kind of fell to the back of my mind after I saw the trailer for a little bit, because I'm like, I don't like thinking about games I want to play because I know I'm gonna play them, and I don't want to see anything about it. I don't want to speculate too much because I don't want to paint an image of the game and then like disappoint myself or like distract myself from what's really going on, whatever. And Alan Wake is such a precious property to me. I love the first Alan Wake game so much. So when Alan Wake 2 came out, I was, like all the way in, so that came out, and I was on the fence of like just playing through it myself, or if I wanted to stream it, or if I wanted to record it. I debated. I'm not going to do it by just myself with no content because I owe it to Alan Wake. I did a playthrough of Alan Wake originally. Granted, I did do the playthrough videos after I had already beaten the game before, so I wanted to just kind of play through it for you guys for content. But I didn't want to, I wanted to experience Alan Wake 2 by myself without a camera, without talking the whole time. But I know that by talking and by experiencing it in a semi-social situation would help me get more immersed and share that with you guys and anybody now or in the future. So I ended up recording it because I didn't want to stream it because I knew I would just be distracted by streaming because I'm too in the moment of like, I need to be entertaining rather than I need to be invested. So I did the recordings, and that was 17 parts and ended up being like 10 hours of footage. So all the Alan Wake videos are in a playlist, as well as the Alan Wake movie. So if you want to watch an entire 10-hour video, you can put that on, or you can watch it part by part. So I'm very happy about that. Alan Wake is my personal game of the year because I don't think any other game came out that like, I'm looking at going, this is it. Because I don't even know what the fuck I played. I played Apex Legends this year. Like, I played a lot of games, but no game stood out more than Alan Wake 2 for me. Absolutely game of the year. And I can't wait to see what DLC they could put out for it. I did go to Michigan 2 times also, which is one thing I can say about my job, which is nice, is like it may not pay the best. It may not be the most entertaining. It's actually pretty mind-numbing and frustrating sometimes, but I do get paid time off, so I was able to actually take 2 separate 1 week or like 5-day vacations at the beginning of the year in January or February or whatever. I went to Michigan, and then in August I went to Michigan. I have a vlog for both of those videos, which will be linked down below as well, visiting my friend Sav. So I had a great time with that. I was able to visit Owasso, which is the town I lived in Michigan before. I was able to walk in some very familiar nostalgic places, some very emotional places for me, and I was able to see friends and just see places and do a lot of really cool fun stuff. So I love Michigan, and I can't wait to go back, and if it were up to me, I'd be living in Michigan, but that's, it ain't up to me. So let's move on to some cosmetics, right? So as far as cosmetic changes for me this year, because you guys know me, I'm always changing my appearance. There's always something going on. I got a tattoo machine. midway through the year. When did I get that? I don't even know. I got a tattoo machine and I tattooed myself, and I have tattooed myself 3 times. I gave myself a little Cubone skull. I gave myself like a cool dead tree looking thing on my ankle, and I gave myself a Tales from the Gas Station hand plant tattoo on my above my right knee. And I don't think I'll have time to do it before the end of the year. I've been meaning to tattoo myself the past, couple months. It's like making dinner at home. It's like making dinner for your family at home. There's so much prep and there's so much attention to detail, and then there's so much cleanup after that I just like keep not setting up and doing it because I just don't have like the time. So I tattooed myself 3 times. I tattooed Dylan twice, and I tattooed Nin once. So I plan on doing some more tattoos this coming year. Next thing, I got myself a vertical libre lip piercing, which is pretty cool. I've always wanted a lip piercing. I've always wanted like snake bites growing up, just because that scene emo kid thing. But I knew that they just weren't good for like my gums with the way that they'd be rubbing against my teeth and my gums and stuff. So the vertical libre is a way for me to get lip piercing without it actually running a risk of grinding and ruining my teeth. So I got that. I need to switch it out. It's currently a curved bar, and I need to look into getting a D ring for it because I don't like how like out it is. I'd rather have it be just kind of like tight to my lip and not really move around that much. So I need to look into getting a D ring. I just need to find one that'll fit, and that's affordable. Another thing for cosmetics is I got some sweet second-degree burns throughout the year on my hip and on my right bicep. So my hips faded a lot, but it's still there, still a little dark spot. But my right arm, now it looks like I have like a little ghost. I got like a little ghost dude who's just a little red burn spot. I'll provide some cleaner photos of that on my Instagram, like just a trigger warning, like it's not like gory or anything, but there might be some skin bubbles, you might see some stuff like that, but like I'll label them as like safe for work and semi not safe for work, so you know which ones to click if you want to avoid seeing grossness. But so that's pretty cool. That happened. And I believe I got that at the same time as I had tattooed myself for the first time. So I was like, one leg was fucking tattooed and sore because I think it got slightly infected because I wasn't the most sterile. And then I had my entire arm wrapped in bandages from burns. So it was just like, man, I'm having a fucking time. My left leg's fucked up. My right arm's fucked up. I still got to go to work though. And here I am. It was a hell of a time. The next thing I got, which is probably the biggest cosmetic thing for me, is my hair. If you guys don't know, which you should know, I don't know why I even said that, but I cut my dreads off. When did I even cut those off? I had my dread mohawk for about 2 years. I cut my dreads. I posted the video cutting my dreadlocks September 3rd, 2022. So from then, for the better part of the year, up until October 10th is when I got my I believe it was October 10th or maybe 9th or 11th. It was right around there when I got my entire head dreaded again. So I do have full dreadlocks, as you've seen in videos, as you've seen on any social media. So I'm very happy about that. It's been very exciting and good for my my self-esteem to be able to look at myself and be like, yeah, my hair pretty much always looks good now, and I don't have to worry about it, and it fits my aesthetic, and I can just be happy looking at myself and think I look cool, because all I want is to look cool to myself. I want to always look in the mirror and see the person that like 14, 15-year-old me would want to see, because back then I was so stagnated with my style. There was so much pressure and so much antagonism to me trying to be an individual that I always had to like fit into a box. Like my parents wouldn't let me dye my hair. If I straightened my hair, I was called slurs and bullied harder. And then so I was always just like, I was like very M Shadows, like shaved head, aviator sunglasses, wristbands and shit. But like, I was just always so basic. And if I did try to express individuality, swiftly crushed, swiftly made fun of and tortured psychologically and physically. And so once I was like 18, I think I was like 17 when I first dyed my hair. My mom was not happy with me, but I explored all that stuff growing up and started getting tattoos and whatever have you. But like getting the dreadlocks is where I finally feel just like, yeah, the dreadlocks are me. And honestly, that's what most people associate with me now. They look at me, and people who know me see me as the guy with dreadlocks now. What's next? Oh, I actually since I haven't been too active on the main channel posting a lot of content, I was just not in the mood to cut down streams into content, besides playing 7 Days to Die, playing Minecraft or whatever, but like making other random videos. I actually focused really hard on my vocal cover channel, and I switched from, it was always called Linkin Covers, but all I did was do sing-alongs where it was just the actual song and me singing in one take along with it. And while, those were fine, it just felt very disingenuous because, like, I'd get compliments and whatever, but people saying it was good and stuff, but I know that my voice was still masked by the actual singer. So, and with, like, I was doing one layer versus the professionally mixed song had multiple layers, so I was just one more layer in the song, and it was hard to distinguish sometimes, and I was doing it all in one take, so it was extremely raw, and I would have to, like, I had very poor breath management. So what I did was I finally bit the bullet, and I started actually doing covers where I would cover songs where the instrumentals were a thing, and I would do multiple takes. I would layer my voice, and now I'm living up to the namesake of the channel. I'm doing covers. And I have to say, that channel is at 299 subscribers right now. And the support that I'm getting on that channel, regardless of how I feel about my own voice and how I look back at myself and tear myself down, the support I get is great. While not a lot of people comment, I do get good views and I do get good likes. My like and dislike ratio is typically good and positive by like 70-80%. And I'm very happy with that. And it's honestly extremely uplifting just to see, because that's me. You know, I'm not hiding behind the singer. It's me, and it feels good. Even if listening to myself sometimes, I'm like, oh, I should have done this. I could have done that. I could have done another take on this. I should have done it in a lower cadence. I should have been a little bit more gruff, or I shouldn't have been so gruff. And I can tear it apart all I want, but at the end of the day, it's me, and I'm doing what I can with what I got, and I gotta be proud of that, at least somewhat. So I'm actually posting covers on the cover channel, which is cool. What's going on here? At the end of last year, let's go ahead and wrap this up real quick. At the end of last year, I got into a relationship right around the time of my birthday in December, and at the beginning of this year, I got out of that relationship because it just wasn't working out for me. So that is something that happened, and I'm not gonna linger on that. But like, that was the first time where not the first time, but that was the most recent and significant time where I was faced with the perspective of being the one to break up with somebody and the guilt behind that. And fuck, that sucks. But it was the best for me, so I had to do it. And I regret the pain I caused, but at the same time, it was necessary. I had to look out for myself, so it just wasn't right for me. I wasn't feeling it. So I graded my first Yu-Gi-Oh card, which is really cool. I have my Ghost Rare Blue Eyes White Dragon, which I got graded at an 8, and it was worth like $280, and I sold it to a friend for a profit, so that's really cool. And I think that pretty much wraps up the most important things of the year. And not even the most important, but like the stuff that popped into my head as something I want to look back on and be proud of. Of course, there was innumerable amount of things that happened this year. I know this isn't a video. This is why I make these recordings, is because there is just so much. And I lose track of it all. And I even tried to, I think partway through the year, I think I tried to make a list of like if something significant happened, I would write it down for the sake of this. But like I kept forgetting and then I just didn't. So here we are. But I think when it comes to significance, that is all the stuff that I mentioned is definitely up there. It's very personal to me. Let's go right now since I'm here when it comes to, channel subscriber numbers. So this channel, Lincoln's Legion, is at 575, which hadn't gained a whole lot, but I have not been posting a whole lot, and not a lot of unique content that would be drawing new eyes. The Linkin Airsoft channel is at 517. That has been stagnated because we did not play Airsoft like at all this year. Linkin Covers is at 299, and Archive of the Unexplainable, which is where I did like ghost stories and posted my ghost hunting videos, is at 25 subscribers, and then my Vengeance official channel is at 26. But again, most of those channels those two channels, Vengeance and the Archive, the Unexplainable, don't really get used for a whole lot, except now the book channel will be getting used because all the audiobooks are going up there. I'm trying to post updates over there. I think that's really it. So, how could I forget? At the end of all this, if you want to support me, I did start my Patreon again for like the fifth time, but like, I started the Patreon and I'm actually posting on it. I'm not posting like the most insane behind the scenes stuff because like there's not a whole lot of interesting behind the scenes stuff for me to post, but I do have a feed of the content there. I do have a few behind the scenes stuff. I have like re-uploading old videos, like archive stuff, and just some never before seen stuff, some stuff that didn't get posted or got posted then taken down because the series never completed or whatever have you, stuff like that. I'm trying to like archive stuff on there so you guys can look back and also just have a direct feed. You can post and you can participate in polls and you can contact me directly, and there's a whole lot of stuff you can do. So patreon.com/Linkins Legion is where you can find that. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. So thank you everybody so much for listening. I am dreading having to edit this, but I need to get it done by tomorrow and up by tomorrow. So I just want to say at the end of this, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everybody who has supported me throughout this year. I know I've been inconsistent. I know I've had, my head buried and, not being the most active on every social media because I have like every platform. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. And I post a lot on TikTok. I have a couple of TikTok accounts. Pretty much you can find the links to everything down in the description below. If you want to follow me any specific location, I will link it down below. But like genuinely, there has been such a surge of support throughout this year from a few individuals, and then from a few expected individuals, from a few precious individuals, and from the anonymous users of the internet. There has been a lot of positivity coming my way and more engagement than I'm typically used to, and definitely more compliments than I'm typically used to. So seriously, from me, thank you. It really does mean everything. Just having you engage in anything, with whether it be likes or comments or anything, or just seeing the numbers go up, inspires me to keep working on those things and myself. So thank you. And I'll see you guys in 2024, I guess. Bye, everyone.